Hey guys, welcome back to Best Night Productions. Today, we're gonna go drifting again really soon. So the BMW is kind of back together. My son Xander is gonna give me a hand today. So a couple of things updated wise. We have some new parts on the way, which I might get to later on in this episode, but for right now, we won't talk about those. The main things that were an issue in the past episode, obviously the oil pan is JB welded together. I mean, the engine block is JB welded together. So we're gonna forget about that completely. And the other thing is that the oil pan itself was not put together very well. There was one bolt that was stripped, and instead of fixing it, somebody just rammed something home. So I gotta drill and tap that.
Phrasing?
Because it's leaking like a sieve, and I know all BMWs leak, but this one's bad. Like, I mean, it's like a quart on the ground in a day. So that's gotta go. Xander is going to help me put wheel spacers on. Fun fact, it turns out these rims are actually worth a shitload of money. So if you want them, let me know, because they're real BBS two-piece rims. They came with the car, and I don't necessarily want to use them for drifting if they are worth money and they're valuable to somebody. If nobody claims them, though, I don't give a shit. I'll just run them. So I did get these little 16s. These are off like a E36, but they do not clear, and that stance is just terrible. So I went, the obvious route and went and picked up some of these bad boys, just some, Amazon special spacers. So that is what is going to go on. That'll be Xander's job while I get to crawl underneath of the car and tap the oil pans. One done. Little bit of rubbing at full lock to the right, so we could have got some bigger spacers. I mean, I guess I could double stack these if I really wanted.
Probably.
I mean, I'm making a little tight on that.
Hey, phrase it!
We have to do the back, but I still want to do brake pads as well. So do you want to just take off the back? You just take off the back brakes. I'm going to crawl underneath, or take off the back wheel. I'm going to crawl underneath and start working on that. Nope, you can still use that because you got to use this guy, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
There you go. And make sure you don't lose those because we might need them later. Okay. Well, I utilize Canadian child labor. Yeah, get the snowblower out of the way. I am going to try and crawl underneath and see about tapping this oil pan. I'm not looking forward to this whatsoever.
That's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck because it is super oily down there, and just all around not a great time. In the words of Jared Dienda, send it.
What?
T-handle won't fit with the oil pan in the way, so we're gonna go full sketch mode. Full sketch mode. Well, fingers crossed. I definitely bottomed the drill out and kept turning, so I may have just stripped all the threads I just made. That's fun. Okay, so tapping it did not go well because I'm an idiot, and when I put the tap in with the drill bottomed out and tap kept spinning, so it just stripped all the threads out. So originally they had a bolt with a nut on it, and I figured, hey, that wasn't too bad, so I just put a bigger bolt with a bigger nut on it, and hopefully that holds. So Xander's got most of the wheels off, except one.
Yeah, because it's being stupid.
I gotta hit the brakes, so you can do that. The other thing, speaking of brakes, I am gonna swap out these pads for a semi-metallic, and then that way, that way when
scientific word.
when I rip the e-brake, it should grip a little bit better. So
Wait a minute.
that is the plan. So we're gonna get the other tire off, and then maybe I'll get into the brakes, and then we can get all the wheels on, and this thing is gonna be so low. We might have to keep the 17s on it just to
Keep it
get it on and off the trailer. So we'll get the other wheel off, and then we might start working on some engine-based stuff. Okay, so we got basically all those flipped over. I'm super concerned that when we drop this thing back down that those things are gonna rub like crazy. So I'm gonna probably keep the 17s ready to go because, yeah, that's not bueno. I do think I'm gonna do the rear brake pads now. So I'm assuming it probably takes an Allen key, knowing BMW. I don't think it's super necessary to do it, but hey, I bought them. They're on Rock Auto, super cheap. And then I do need to do like the Chelsea Denofa like handbrake upgrade with a big pipe and shit like that.
That's custom right there.
Custom, dog. So, I also did get a fire extinguisher. I'm going to upgrade it a little bit because it's got plastic brackets and I've had them break off while driving. So I'm going to have to install that. And then, yeah, I think we're just waiting on parts to arrive, which should be here Monday. And then I think my buddy Brendan's going to come over and give me a hand with that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be some upgrade to the cooling stuff as a bit of a hint. It doesn't seem to be leaking any more oil, which is great. So yeah, I think at this point we'll do the rear brake pads and then that might be it for the day. I don't know, we'll see. Once the rear brake pads are on, I'll throw the other wheels on and then we'll see how it looks. But I mean, what's the height difference in these bad boys? It shouldn't be that bad, actually, now that I'm looking at it. There's really not a huge, because the sidewall on the 16s is so much higher, it's actually not that much of a difference. So this car sits insanely low to start with. So we'll find out. What's going on to you all? Find out. Okay, rear brake pads are done, but I am a complete idiot.
600 bucks? 600.
Man, I wonder if anybody caught it. Hi, Past Jacob. It's Editor Jacob here. Don't worry, I took care of it. Future Editor Jacob here. I don't know if you noticed, but on the screen you could just see me recording myself not natural at all. At least in this case. Shit, I did it again. At least in this case now, you can see I'm actually editing. I made sure everybody knew how much of an idiot you are. But the e-brake on these doesn't work off of the normal, like the pads. It's, I believe it shoes inside the rotor. So that was a giant waste of fucking time. But whatever, we got like lots of bite in the rear end if I smash on the brakes. So I'm just going to crank down at the handbrake and go from there. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi, my other helper. So yeah, I did all that work and didn't even realize it. You know what made me realize it? Is that I went to turn the wheel to check to see how much they're biting and realized the e-brake was still on. I was like, well, how did I push the caliper in if the e-brake was on? Like that's not right. And then realized afterwards that more than likely there are shoes inside of the rotor. So yeah, I'm just gonna crank it down in here and take up as much slack as I possibly can. I think there's probably a star wheel I can probably adjust as well, but yeah, I don't know. Every build I have has a terrible e-brake, so why not this one? Anyways, that's about it. I did actually, while doing this, it looks like I sold these wheels, so that's pretty sweet. And yeah, I think that's gonna probably do it for me today. But we're gonna come back and do some more work with Brennan and get all the other stuff in. So, okay, so we're back. I think a couple of quick updates. Tried taking off the rad fan. It did not go well at all. It was terrible. And yeah, it's a right-hand thread, and as you can see, there's a couple of like twisted bolts in there. I tried making a tool. That broke. I tried wedging things in there. I tried using a band wrench. I tried everything. It's not coming off. There's only one option left, and that is to get a blade right in there and cut that bitch off and then take the nut off. So that is my plan with that. But as I promised, things did arrive, and I figured I'd show you what they are. So if you couldn't tell, Mishimoto, they hooked us up. So we've got a brand new rad from an E36, which should fit pretty close. We've also got the fan and shroud to go with it, which also should fit pretty close. I've got some hoses and some extra stuff. I did also grab a remote reservoir because these ones are known to crack. Although looking at it, I don't know if it's gonna fit, so I have to send that back to them, but that is what's going on. Other than that, I stripped off the handle for the e-brake, so that way we can do the old Chelsea Denofa extension. And yeah, so my buddy Brennan is going to be over here soon to give me a hand. I'm going to cut this off, I think. And yeah, we'll go from there. That's
Right?
That's what's left. Holy shit. Okay, so ended up sawing it off. I went through a bunch of saw blades. Those Diablo ones are the only ones that fucking work. And yeah, and then just cold chiseled it off. So that's gone, thankfully. And Brendan showed up, so I have extra help now. Okay, so yeah, this is ground flat. We put a new belt on because that's a good idea. We did figure out the orientation. We had things backwards and upside down and shit. So it's in there now. I built some custom brackets, which I'm just not going to show you because I like Mishimoto and I don't want them to be upset with me. And it does look like these hoses fit or come very, very close to fitting with minor modification. So now it's electrical. And if anybody's watched the channel before, they know that means things are going to catch on fire. Brennan's not any better at electrical. So we're gonna do that right now and then see what happens.
We got a fire extinguisher.
We do have a fire extinguisher on the car, so that's good. I do also have to figure out how to stop the seat from going back and forth because that's a problem. Although it would make for a fun video. But that'll be the last thing we do, and then hopefully we can take this off the jack stands, move all 3 other cars out of the way just to take this for a rip around the block. So seems worth it to me. Anybody wondering, if you buy one of these Mishimoto ones, the wiring setup on this is one wire from the harness goes to the black wire or the ground. There's a ground switch system on the fan. The other red wire goes direct to your battery. Your black wire, obviously your ground. Your yellow is signal wire A, which means if you want to switch this, go for it, or find something that you can switch the system on with. And the green one is your backup switch, which could also be hooked up to your AC, which I guess this technically still has. I mean, we could, you never thought of that. We could have used the AC switch, couldn't we, and just like run that over. You do want both though. So anyways, we have to run a switch wire. So we looked for something in here. We could tap off the fuse box maybe. That's still not out of the question yet. But yeah, worst case, we're just gonna run a power line from the battery through a switch in the dash and then up to here. But I'm just gonna cover that bad boy. It's the Mishimoto stuff's pretty much ready to go. I guess we could. Do you want to throw the? I guess we could throw the hoses. Let's throw the hoses on real quick because I think that'll make us feel better. Sometimes you gotta get the wins. You gotta get a couple little wins in.
Small wins, little wins.
Yeah, small victories. Okay, rough wiring is done. Found my trigger wire, which is the headlight. Just super great. Now I'm going to test it by very carefully heating up the probe sensor. So fingers crossed, I should be able to warm this up and the fan should come on. Yeah. I'm hoping. I think we got everything, didn't we? We don't need the green wire. Come on.
Shouldn't it have turned on with the headlights?
Hey! Come on! Come on! Isn't that a little cool? There we go! Woo!
We made wires happen.
Look, I'll cool it off. But that's got some force. Feel it. Wow, put your hand in there.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. And it didn't kill the break the fuse. And it should turn off now. Look at that.
Holy.
Go, team, go! Brian learned wiring tonight from the person in the world that should not be teaching anybody wiring.
I'm taking a lot home from this.
So let's clean this up. And let's clean it up. We're going to fill it up. And I think that's where we're going to call it here. It is Tuesday. We leave on Friday. I still have to test this out. I think I'll leave that for like another episode. I'll leave that for like packing and stuff as a quick test. So, but yeah, we're just going to clean up the wiring. We're going to fill this up. We still have to kind of fix the seat sliding and cover up the battery and secure that. And put the air intake back together. We got a couple things to do, but I mean, we're at the point where we can at least get it running and maybe bleed the system tonight. So that's pretty boring. So I'm gonna leave you guys for this one. Thanks again for watching everything Pistonhead Productions. Make sure to like, subscribe. Check out the video coming after this, which will be us more than likely going drifting. I don't know if I've made the video yet, but the new truck project, I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next time.